People were mentioning EINs. Anybody wants to discuss problems again?
So let's presume.
Pardon?
We could presume that everybody has their EINs, unless somebody speaks up.
Right. Well, obviously some people don't, because there was a lot of confusion about it just now on the Skype website. So I want to give people a chance to bring that up if they want to.
Okay.
Okay. And if they don't, if you've all got them and have looked at the latest documents that produced about us being international postmasters, and this is going to really solve a lot of the problems that we've been trying to work out.
Okay, Tom, this is Pat. I'm on the line.
Yes, Patrick, we got the recording started.
Yeah. Okay, has everybody looked over those two documents about being an international organization that I posted up there?
Yeah, I've been over them quite a few times. Each time I see a little bit more in them.
Well, basically, the key thing is basically that first one, okay, and that basically it covers 22 U.S.C. Code Section 288A, okay, privileges and exemption and immunity of international organization. And then 15 U.S.C. Section 1 and Section 2 talk about trade and monopolization of trade. And basically, Title 15 is all about commerce, okay, in the process. Now, the one person or the one organization that is over all commerce is basically the Postmaster General. Mail is basically the key element in commerce. Okay. The post office has been responsible for the printing of all stamps, all securities, all paper instruments that are basically utilized in the governmental system of this country. Okay? The dollar bill, everything, all money is basically controlled by the post office system. Your banknotes, American Banknote Company is basically working for the post office. They print up stamps or they print up that certificate of live birth document. Therefore, the post office is responsible for all securities in this country. Okay? They're one of the main ones, and they stand over all others because everything out here is operated through the mail system. Now, in 1966, basically they shut down the savings accounts in the post office system, and then they had 7 years, 66 to 73, and then at the end of 73, all savings accounts had to be terminated, fully liquidated and terminated. So they had to give some recourse in the process. They created the postal system out here and basically gave everybody a zip code assigned to your mailbox. That zip code is a 9-digit postal bank routing number. It's also your international exemption number. International organization exemption. You have more than one postal employee in your postal organization. How did you get your Social Security card? By mail. How have you gotten several other items? By mail. Notification, taxes, whatever, all by mail. That same year, 1973, if you look at the form SF 1047, that form has not changed since 1973. Don't hum me. Basically, look at it. When they changed and put the zip codes out here, basically they put out there that you could start redeeming all of your receipts through the post office system. If you have a Treasury or Direct Express debit card, it says it came from the Department of the Treasury, but it's a security. All credit cards, too, are basically controlled by the post office. Does it not have an all-capital name person on it? Does not the bills go through the mail? The post office is the one that's controlling everything. But we had to see that these forms basically were post office forms, and that you are a postal master, not a postmaster, not a postmaster general, or any of that stuff. You are an international postal master, because all of your postal employees, persons, come from different states, nations, whatever. Each state is a nation. So basically, you're operating in international as an international organization. An international organization is one or more persons, and it doesn't have to be incorporated. Now, you stand exempt as an international organization. That's where your exemption really comes into play now. In commerce, out here, you have exemptions, immunities, and privileges. Commerce cannot be disrupted. The mail must go through. Therefore, if any of these courts are out here writing fraudulent securities and putting you and incarcerating you into a debtor's prison, you can turn around and file a claim with the post office. You give them opportunity to set off the charges. Now, if they don't, after 3 days, then they are basically restraining your right of free trade. You can turn around and file a commercial lien, a commercial postal lien against them, because you're going after their postal employees. And all EINs are postal employee numbers. You don't go after the individual and put a commercial lien against the judge in his personal capacity, or the governor, or anybody else. You do that and you're going to get in trouble. And you don't even put the thing into the court. You put the commercial lien, postal lien, into the Postmaster General. You let the postmaster, the post office, take care of it for you. The Postmaster General is the one that can declare war. You inform them that war has been declared upon you, and then you let them turn around and process it through the system. Pontius Pilate was the proctor over Jerusalem or Israel in Jesus' day, but he was also the Postmaster General over Israel, because Rome basically was overseeing Israel at the time, and basically it would have been a Roman person. The head Roman person would have been the postmaster in that area. And then all the contracts that Jesus had were in commerce. So your 9-digit postal zip code is basically, it is an exemption number, and it for your immunities, and also it is your postal bank routing number. With the Direct Express debit card that basically is issued out by the Department of the Treasury, we've been trying to find the bank routing number. Well, how did we get that card? They sent it through the mail to us. So the bank routing number is our zip code, our 9-digit zip code. That's the bank routing number for that Direct Express debit card. You can take your Social Security card, and that's a security. You fill out a 1455 and a 1522. The 1522, basically, you can put down your debit card or whatever and put down your bank routing number as your zip code for that Direct Express card. If you don't have one, you basically get with the post office and say, well, I need a post office debit card when you send your securities in. You turn around and you do the stamping, the medallion stamping. You put a global stamp on there, and then you basically date it, and you put your zip code, and then you sign it. You fill out the information on the other side that you are the postal master. That is your office, your international office that you are holding. Okay? And you could come in and basically claim, have that Social Security account terminated now. You can turn around and put a value on the back of a DD-214 or a certificate of live birth and basically get the funds for that. You can take your driver's license. You could take any instrument out here that is affecting your right of free trade, your freedoms, and basically liquidate it. You send it in, you fill this out, and then you give this to your local postmaster and tell them to process it up the line. It should go to your state postal inspector, and normally they're located in the state capital, and then basically they're also tied in with the Treasury Department and everything right there, and they can have those securities brokered. They can take it over to the courthouse and basically have it brokered right there by the Justice Department. Now, if we've sent securities into the Justice Department, to that courthouse, we put an order into them. You don't go to war right away. You give them 3 days to cure their errors. That's death and resurrection. You know, not this 30 days like that one YouTube was talking about on a commercial lien process. No, we give them a notice, and basically, if they don't comply within 3 days, then basically we will initiate a commercial lien against them for against their postal persons. The post office knows all of those EINs in the system. So does the Treasury Department. In your commercial lien, you put down the United States Treasury Department as a co-plaintiff in the commercial lien. They're going to be a co-plaintiff, and they will be your trustee when the funds come out. They will be holding your credits in the process as a trustee, and you will be a beneficiary, but there is no taxes on this beneficiary process. There's no probate court or anything like that involved here. Okay? We stay out of these damn court systems. We operate with the post office system. You're not a Postmaster General. You're not. You are a international organization, postal master. You're the master of your postal employees. And in an international organization capacity, where that zip code is, that is your exemption from property taxes out here. You can go in and file a complaint with the county commissioners and demand all of your taxes back that you paid in. You can remove that off the books and have it moved over into the internet as an international organization, that property, per Title 22 USC Section 288A. Right. Now that property stands exempt because they've already more than enough gotten the taxes out of you.
Is that because of the fraud or them being foreign or both? That's probably both, huh?
Exactly what it says in the documents, okay?
All right.
How they've basically written false security, counterfeit securities, and piracy against your assets by the bar members. 90% of all the elected officials in Congress and the Senate are basically bar members. They have sworn an oath to a foreign banking power and a communist organization at that. They turn around and start writing counterfeit securities, and basically, even when you're in prison, they're writing bonds against your being incarcerated. Without your consent in most cases. and that is counterfeiting. And you can turn around, and they're also restricting your right of free trade, because there was never supposed to be any debtor prisons in this country.
Yeah, making you stay at home without a truck's the same as a prison almost.
The confiscation of a truck outright there basically was done in fraud, okay? And basically that was, yes, depriving you of your property, your international property. So you file the complaint in through the post office.
Right.
By way of 15 U.S.C. Section 1 and Section 2. And then also any violation against Title 22 U.S.C. 288A.
Got it.
And you go to the postal inspectors, okay, when you file those in. Because it's all security fraud. All traffic tickets. They give you, in most cases, an appearance bond, but they never give you the appearance bond to pay the traffic ticket. So they're basically forcing you to pay the ticket and then basically abandon the bond later on. See, you've got to know what the game is before you can make your complaint. Because if you just go in there making allegations without substantiation, you're not going to go nowhere. And that's what I've been trying to get to this point all this time.
Brilliant.
That you don't file your commercial liens into the county recorder or to the court system, because they're going to blow them away. You go to the post office. They will take care of it.
Brilliant.
Because basically all, like I said before, all these inspector generals are banking inspector generals. And they're out here to monitor identity theft and counterfeiting are the two main things. Counterfeiting of securities. Even the senators and the House of Representatives, congressmen, they're constantly out here writing counterfeit bills. I told you the story about Davy Crockett. These congressmen and senators do not have the authorization to go out there and write a bill against our assets for any single, like Bank America, bailout or something like that. That is a total counterfeit bill. And then trying to get us to pay and bail the damn bank out when the bank should have folded up. They've just been siphoning the money off internally in their own damn system. All the Bushes, all the Clintons, they all should basically have a commercial lien placed upon them by way of the post office. Hillary Clinton, same thing. For all the fraud that she's done in her office when she was in as Secretary of State and also as a state senator. Yeah, put a commercial lien. If enough people, basically, we could shut these guys down. And see, in the postal, being a postal master, international postal master, you fall under the protections of the UPU.
As soon as you throw me in jail, you're going to get laid down.
The biggest governmental organization in this country is the post office. And there are many out there with guns that you don't know anything about. So, look over those documents that I posted there. Read and understand them.
Yeah.
And then re-look at the SAV 1455 and the 1522. They're not that hard to figure out. Basically, a 5-year-old kid could basically read the instructions and fill the things out. Probably better than most adults can. You've got to go stick your head under the water for about an hour, and then you might clear your head. Get rid of all this bullshit garbage that basically is being put out here by all these other so-called gurus that don't know their ass from a hole in the ground. They get to a certain point, and then they stop. Thinking that that's the end of it. It's not the end. In a lot of cases, these things are only the beginning. The game is still on. You haven't got up from the table and basically taken your winnings with you yet. So, basically, get hot, go get a bunch of global stamps, either the North American global stamp or the Moon global stamp, and start stamping the living shit out of your documents. And then get them off to the post office. You bring the dead in to be processed. You're going to basically like King Solomon. Okay, he was the Postmaster General. And basically when the woman gave the baby up, he knew who the rightful owner was of the baby. When you can give up the security, they know that you are the owner of that security. Anybody else out there is trying to utilize that security as collateral. They're not the true owner. Now, does this story about the two women make a little more sense? Only the lawful owner can abandon or surrender the security, the baby. I've tried to, over the years, try to give you different metaphors and analogies to bring it to modernization in the process. Just like all the prophets throughout the Bible. At that point in time, they used metaphors in the process, trying to reach the people of their time. Okay. You guys go ahead and talk. I'll just sit back now.
Yep, Patrick, I was wondering how do we get the authorization as the International Postal Master, but we don't need an EIN. They already did it with the ZIP +9 then. That's
when they assigned that to you, they assigned you as the postal master of that number.
Right, so that's our authorization right there.
Yes.
Good.
You got it by mail.
And do we still do our authorization package with the life estate and christening document?
I would strongly recommend it.
Good, okay, will do. You really simplified it, but actually it made it much more comprehensive at the same time.
You've got to know who you are. Basically, so far, nobody really knew who they were. They've been out here barking up the wrong tree.
Okay.
I tried to go to the post office before, but I didn't have these, the 15 USC Section 1 and 2, and I didn't have the 22 USC Section 288A as our exemption in the process as an international organization. And then I also didn't have the forms, knowing that those 3 forms are post office forms for liquidating our securities.
Okay.
Anybody else?
And after we do this for ourselves, which I'll do first, and there's some people I want to help out of prison. Since they're in prison, they probably can't do the paperwork on this, and they'll have to get a
Yes,
power
they
return.
can. Basically, you can send them to them. Send the stamps along with it.
Oh, okay, just get it ready for
All
them.
they need is a red pen, the stamp, and basically a blue pen, and basically their security or whatever.
Okay. So in case of their charges, we will have to have someone in their family get that, and we'll send it all in. Okay, got it. Thank you.
But if you get out of the system, basically you can go into your local county and basically walk into the commissioners and put the deal right down on the table. Say, I want all of those prisoners that are incarcerated released within the next 3 days.
Okay. And then I'll work out with them any recompense I want if I want.
No,
any.
you don't do that, Tom. You've got to know what the shit you're doing first, and basically you don't know what you're doing yet. You've got to think this thing through.
I will.
Don't just think you know what you're doing. You've got to know, and you've got to speak with authority. You don't come into some place wishy-washy and expect to walk out of there alive.
No, I will go over it thoroughly before I do it, but I got to get the idea first. And I appreciate going over it with you.
Yeah, you've got to do your own shit first, and then basically even possibly help 1 or 2 others before you even think about going and doing a mass scenario.
I agree. I have no problem with that.
Yeah, you hit the damn senators and congressmen up. What the shit are you doing passing a damn bill that affects my trade? My right of trade and commerce.
I love that one.
Yeah. Davy Crockett basically went in and was in Congress. He voted to basically allocate so much money. It wasn't a big value or anything, but basically it was maybe about $25,000. But of course that was 25,000 real dollars back then. Okay? To help out this one place that basically got damaged by fire in Washington, D.C. Not one place, but a bunch of families and everything else. Well, he got back home, and his constituents basically jumped all over it. What the shit did you do? Who authorized you to do that? That is not in the Constitution. But he had to sit out one term because back then they knew how to read the Constitution. So he had to run for re-election the next term. After he sat out one term, then he ran for re-election and promised to go back in there and correct the mistake that he did in his first term. And he did. There was an honest man. Can't say that for all the people that are in Congress right now. There is not one honest man in there. Not even Ron Paul. Ron Paul couldn't read the goddamn Constitution if his life depended upon it. How many times straight in a row was he in there?
About 30 years.
Damn close, and his son's just taken right along in the same damn process, and you haven't heard one of them deny taking the retirement out of the damn Senate or Congress, turning it down. Ordering it out there to help the homeless or something like that. No, there's no honest personnel in Congress or the Senate right now. They're just bullshit artists, and 90% of them are basically all bar members or quack doctors or whatever. Insurance salesmen, you name it. Shysters. Okay, anybody else have a question about those two documents, about the international? And basically then you start turning all of these securities in, your driver's license and everything else. Now you start, and you have your exemption, your 9-digit zip code. See, the people don't know out here what power that 9-digit zip code has. That's why they infiltrated the Patriot community and tried to get everybody to reject having a zip code, a 9-digit zip code. The bankers know what it is. The courts know what it is. Most of the bigger courts. The small local mom and pop courts, state courts, don't necessarily know what it is, but basically the state Supreme Court justices, they better know what the hell it is. They're just administrators. They're not really judges. They can only be a judge if they're adjudicating a harm or damage case. Otherwise, they're just a judicial administrator. And I can go after my local court here because I told them I wanted those appearance bonds on the traffic ticket liquidated so that I could pay the tickets. They didn't do it. So right there, they restricted my trade in violation of 15 U.S.C. Code Section 1, and basically I could take anywhere from $1 million up to $100 million against the county, against the judicial department and the county. Those credits are sitting in the state assurance fund account. And the CAFR is just a yearly part of that assurance fund that is sitting there. And then all the congressmen and everything else out there for the state are writing bills against all of those credits.
And we can go after them for that.
Yes, because when they pass a law, that they see a code that infringes upon your right of trade or monopolizing the trade, that is a felony. It's illegal and a felony. In both cases, Section 1 and Section 2 come into play, and they both have a cap of $100 million apiece. But you process it through the post office. Because the post office is over all these securities. And then you basically have all the funds basically turned over to the Treasury Department. And then you will basically have full access to the funds that you need. Unlimited.
And when we turn it over to the post office, we give it to them in an open unmarked envelope, or we ask them where they want it addressed, or just turn it over to them like that.
You turn it into your postmaster, your local postmaster, and have them process it up the line to the postal inspector.
Right. Okay. Hand it over personally.
Well, you've got it already stamped.
Right.
You mail it by hand delivery.
Right.
You're a postmaster. You're a postman now.
Right. But it'll be several pages, so we could, but for their convenience, put it in an envelope for them.
You can?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Let them mail it out from the post office there. You hand it over to the postmaster. Now the postmaster has to make the delivery to the postal inspector for the state or to the national postal inspector general.
Okay.
Anybody else have a question?
I do.
Well, ask it.
Have you seen or looked at the FS Form 2966?
What is it?
It's titled A Special Bond of Indemnity by Purchaser of United States Savings Bond Notes Involved in a Chain Letter Scheme.
It doesn't affect us. That is for basically the corporation side.
Okay.
You got a savings bond or something like that out there, a double E bond, whatever. You can use it and put it in on this 1455 form and get it liquidated through the post office.
Does the foreign, does the individual banker need to indemnify the United States?
No. Hell no. We don't indemnify anybody. We don't write bonds. You are not authorized to write bonds. You have never been licensed by the SEC.
So we sign the SAB forms as our international banker and fiduciary, and then authorize it, certify it as the International Postal Master. Is that correct?
We're not certifying, we're medallionizing it, basically.
Right.
And who is the only person that knows who you are? This is not a notary on that form.
Right.
It just says, I know this person. Well,
Yes.
who knows this person better than you? You know all your employees.
Right.
They're all Tom.
Yep. Everybody in the Tom Jones company must be Tom Jones.
Yes. In the organization, international organization, is basically your name. All securities are basically under your name. Your name is a marketable title. That's why they always try and get you to say your name. That's why you should always say, I am who I am. Who do you say I am? I know who I am. I'm not telling you my name. But you try and an issue, and see, that's what the cops are trying to do, is get you to basically give your name so that you gave them permission to market your title, your security, under your name. You just tell them, I stand exempt per Title 22 U.S.C. Section 288A. I'm an international organization. And if need be, I will bring in the postal system into play against you for issuing any fraudulent security, counterfeit or otherwise. Okay, anybody have any problems with that?
Oh.
None whatsoever.
Okay, I'm dropping off then. You guys go ahead and continue talking if you want to.
Okay, thank you, Patrick. There's
Okay,
a lot.
good night.
You really packed a lot in those 2 pages. Thank you.
Yeah, that's genius. Thanks, Patrick.
Yep, good night.
Lots of notes.
Good night.
Good night. Good night, Patrick.
Tom, I have a question.
Go ahead.
I guess I missed what he was talking about. You know, he said the red pen and the blue pen. What are you supposed to do with the red pen?
The red pen will cancel the stamp. The blue pen you will sign with.
Okay. And should we fill out the rest of the whole form in blue pen?
Yes.
Okay.
Or type it.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, it's a fillable PDF form, and you can go to pdfescape.com to fill it out if you don't have the expensive software on your computer to do it.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Hey, I have one more question I just thought of. On the back of our birth certificate, are we supposed to sign it or say something on the birth certificate?
Well, I think the special endorsement will still hold if you want to send it in for a partial withdrawal. Like his SAB example, for $5 million he has in there.
Okay. But I didn't see what he wrote, what he said to put on the back of the birth certificate.
It's a file in the current file saying special endorsement. It starts off with the word special endorsement.
Okay. That's on the Yahoo group?
It's on the Yahoo group about 3 weeks from before now.
Okay. Thank you.
It's 3 to 4 weeks before now.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay.
Thank
Hey,
you.
Tom.
Yeah.
This is Johari.
Hi, Jahari.
How you doing?
Okay. Did you hear all this?
Yeah, I'm trying to process it. So I'm trying to figure out.
It answers all the questions we were talking about, though.
Yes, it does, but I have one question. Should we go and submit our 1455s and our 1522s directly to the Postmaster, or should we send it to the Postmaster General in Washington, D.C. and have him process it?
No, that's what he said is we actually personally hand it over to our local postmaster.
Okay, got you. So it should be.
And he admitted that for his and our convenience, we could put it on an envelope and then have them forward it on. But I'm going to take the step of saying, oh, do you want me to put a stamp on here and mail it for you? Because they're very, very friendly here. That might work, it might not.
You know, and what I'm thinking is that most postmasters might not know how to process it.
Well, we can tell them this for state documents, send it to your state postal inspector. For national documents, send it to the national postal inspector.
Okay, I see what you're saying, but basically, let them process it first and let them send it on up the line to be processed.
Right.
I got you. Okay, great. Okay.
I mean, much of what he said before still is in place, but it's us who can produce the equivalent of a medallion stamp. And Patrick said get a bunch of stamps first and bring them in already canceled. And Jahari had made that point when I talked to him. It'd probably be better to have it already pre-done rather than doing it all in front of them.
Yes, because sometimes the clerks, they like to act like they know what they're doing, but they don't. So I was talking to Brother Yasharan, and what I would suggest people do is once they buy their stamps and go up to the desk, most post offices have like a little table where you can have your little privacy, and go ahead and attach your stamps to your documents, and then get back in line. Maybe it's 4 or 5 people in line. Get back in line so when you go back to the clerk, tell the clerk to cancel that stamp manually. They have like a red stamper, and when they hit it across that stamp, that's canceled. So that's all you really have to do is just see the red stamp is going to cancel it. That proves you bought it.
That Patrick changed that tonight.
Okay.
We're not getting them to cancel the stamp and to sign to verify our signature. We are canceling the stamp by writing over it with our name, the date, and our zip code.
Right.
Either way, we are verifying our individual banker who's signing the form above.
Okay, because I have did it both ways, manually and also with a pen. When I used to carry mail, I used to carry a pen and then just put a line through it, just like you said, and that does cancel the stamps. But either way works.
All right. Okay. Well, we're taking advantage of the fact that we're an international postmaster, so we are the ones who actually certify the SAB form.
Got it. Yeah. Okay.
I read on one of those SAV forms that I can't remember exactly which one it was, but it was in that zip file that says that the name on the certificate and whoever certifies it can't be the same name. How are you going to get around that?
Well, actually, I went to them again today myself. And when I originally read that file, it looked like maybe we would have to take that form as a form of identification, then sort of put one in there identifying ourselves as a method of authorization. But now that I see what's going on here, I think all that form is meant to do is take care of aliases and any form of identity theft. And I don't think there's any kind of identification form authorizing us to do anything.
Hey, Tom?
Yeah.
The young man, he brought up a very important point. And as I was reading that document, I was thinking the same thing. So I'm going to tell you what I did. Now, I went to the bank, and I had one of the clerks use his medallion stamp. I let him put his medallion stamp on it, and I gave him my ID and everything, and I let him certify it. So he used his bank code. It's like a bar. When they do use a medallion stamp, they stamp it. And I walked him through the whole thing. I said, you put the sign here, you put that, because I had understood it before I went. And he's like, oh, this is my first time doing this. I said, my first time too, but I read it, and this is what I didn't want to sign it here, but I signed this in front of you now, and so he let me sign it. And he was very understanding, and I walked him straight through it. And I have the problem.
When you did that, was that for a refund or a purchase or something?
No, it was just me processing the 1455 and the 1522. Like that young man said, I didn't want to certify the same document, the same person. So I figured it says on there that it can be a medallion stamped by a financial institution, or we can do it the same way Patrick was saying, going into the court and have the recorder of deeds office use their stamp, or even the U.S. attorney.
Right.
But it should be a different part.
Current document changes that because now we're having an international postal master certifying the documents with more authority than a bank person. Now, you said you got that done, but you submitted it. Was it processed?
No, I'm in the process of submitting it tomorrow. Like I said, I'm getting everything. Actually, I had went to the bank like 2 weeks ago, and I've been slowly putting the file together. So I just finalized the file this weekend. But throughout, as we were, working ourselves through it, I was just making sure that this was done. I put it to the side, then I finished that, then I do something else until I gather everything. And now it's at its complete form, where those forms that need to be filed at the Recorder of Deeds office, and then I will take the 1455s and the 1522s to the post office on tomorrow so they can process it.
Okay. I'll do that. Process it, and we'll process it the other way because, all what Patrick does is experiment and let's see what works.
Right.
Okay.
So you actually got the guy to put a medallion stamp on your 1455, huh?
Yes, sir. Both of them, the 1455 and the 1522. I just sat there and spoke with him, nice and cool and calm, and told him that I was the administrator of the estate, and I wanted him to put his medallion stamp on my paperwork. So when he looked at it, I showed him my ID, and I have like a little small savings. They won't service you unless you're a customer. So I got like $50 inside of a savings account. And then I showed him my ID from Chase Bank, my ATM card, and also my ID from the state of Illinois. And he processed it. He put his medallion stamp on it, signed everything, and, I signed it in front of him. And I looked him over, made sure he put his medallion stamp everywhere, and made sure all the areas on all the documents were he put his inscriptions in, and everything was good. Matter of fact, I met several people in the bank, so next time I need to come back, I won't have no problems.
Good. How big a bank was it?
It was like a sub branch from Chase out here in the South Suburb area off of Chicago, about 20 minutes from downtown Chicago. It's like about maybe good 10, 15 employees. It's not like a real big branch, like 40, 50, but it was big enough that they knew and they understood the documents.
So it was about a 10-employee branch then.
Correct. It was like I guess you would call it a little satellite branch with 15, 20 employees. Chase or any other bank like U.S. Bank, they had these little small branches, but the big major ones is getting closer towards the downtown area and stuff.
Yeah, I'm in a pretty remote area, 100 miles from the nearest big city, and there's a bank has about 6 employees in there. It'll probably do it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Once you go in and you talk to them with some kind of consciousness, some intelligence, I don't think they're going to give you much of a problem because you actually going to be more knowledgeable than most of them. You actually going to be directing them because they have to sign it, but they don't really know what they're doing. Because I had to inform the guy, the one of the agents of J.P. Morgan Chase, and I actually walked him through it. And as I was walking him through it, and he read it for himself. And as he read it, then he just went on to sign it.
Sure. That's the best thing, is if you can get someone to do it, because then they can do it for themselves. Great.
I came in a little late. Was that a branch manager who did it, or just an officer?
It was just a regular employee at the bank. Yeah, the local bank that I had went to. He was just a regular employee, but my son knew this guy who was a host, and he introduced me to another lady, and it was all friendly. And once I showed them the documents, I didn't really have a problem. It was actually a very rewarding, situation. It was, everybody was, looking and.
Well, the thing about having a medallion stamp, you have to have some kind of authority to use it, right?
All agents from these big financial institutions, they give them their medallion stamp. They have to go through a certain amount of hours of knowing how to appropriate that stamp. So they know what they're doing, and it's authorized through the financial institution. And once they see that medallion stamp on it, is recognized through the. I'd imagine you're saying that you're validating the security. Right. That's the validation on the security right there.
Yeah. It's not validating the security. The security is already validated. It's certifying the autograph, the signature.
Right. Okay. It's serving as a notary function, but they also have additional features besides being an official witness.
Okay.
So this was your branch that you got it at, correct?
Yes, it was a local branch. It's only like about 6 or 7 minutes from where I live. Most of any bigger banks like Chase, or if you have like a account set up inside their bank, you can go in there and ask them just to they put their medallion stamp on your documents, and in most cases they will.
Okay, good. So that gives us another ability if we need it.
Exactly. I mean, I believe as we get to this point, I believe there's really no, I believe like that said,
I suspect if the Postmaster Generals are going to process this, coming in as a international Postmaster General may be a bit stronger than the bank, but it may depending on what kind of day the Postmaster Inspector is having. So which one he'll process.
And that's what I was thinking. I was thinking that if it was done by a different entity, like a financial institution, and he puts a medallion stamp, then he would probably look at it and not, how sometimes people, they look at it and they might not give it the right credibility. But right. I believe once he sees you got something from a financial institution, and they're going to look at it with more importance. Or that's just the way I'm thinking about it.
Well, Let's try it and see which one works.
Right, and
So-
that's the reason.
Okay. Sorry.
That's the reason why I had chose that method, and I have listened to all the audios. I just felt, in my particular case, I just made a decision that I was going to process mine that way, so I figured I'd share it with everybody, and if they see any kind of understanding in it, then they can adopt it as well.
Okay, we'll do it.
I have another question for that man. On the 1522, it reads on the title, Special Form Request for Payment of United States Savings and Retirement Securities where the use of a detached request is authorized. Are you, or did you, or are you going to use a detached request?
You said that was on the 1522. I don't actually have the document in front of me.
Okay.
Which page are you speaking of?
This is the first page. This is the title of the document. This is the title of the 1522. Securities where use of a detached request is authorized. You know that the CP 575 that you've gotten with your EINs is a detachment, right? A detachment, correct?
Uh-huh.
Are you using them? And better yet, better still, it might be a good question to ask Patrick if he's using the 575 with the 1522.
Okay. Let me see if I can find it, because
Well,
okay.
if you go look at when you got your EINs and you go look, I don't know what EIN you're going to be using to transact this, but whatever EIN or EINs that you're going to be using, I think it would be, I don't know, I can't say for certain, but those are detachments, and it says every time you're doing some kind of financial transaction, you're supposed to send one of those things with it. And I didn't want anybody to forget about the detachments on.
But I'm just looking at Patrick's example here, and basically that document is serving as a document saying, where do I want this money sent?
Correct. I understand that. But the securities is being there's a use of a detached request is authorized. You're the one authorizing the detached request because you're the one giving it.
Well, the 1455 is a separate document, so maybe that's the detached request. Because the 1522, basically the 1455 says distribute this money to me, and the 1522 says here's where to put it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So
Okay. I have the documents now. Okay. I think you're right, Tom. Me and the brother Yasharan was also talking about applications. I have it around here somewhere. It's for the Treasury Direct. I'm trying to think of that particular that form, and I pulled it down, and I don't know what file I put it in, but I do have my 1455 and my 1322s in front of me now. Hold on, let me see if I can find that document, because it also said put it on this account, which is the Direct Treasury. Basically, right. You're submitting in the Direct Treasury account, so when they do put it, they put it on that particular card and then send it to you. But
right.
I forget
what changes on his example now for his routing number is it not the Social Security number that he had before, but our zip code now.
Right. The zip code +4, right.
Right.
And I do have those forms. Now I've been working with so many different folders and stuff. I'm trying to keep things in order. But I have been trying to get everything squared away so I can file this on tomorrow.
Okay. Well, he certainly packed a lot into those 2 pages, and really put everything almost in one place. And I think what we all need to do is go through this call and take our notes, so we basically I can give ourselves step-by-step instructions to do that.
Sounds good.
Or maybe we can each do a set of notes and then look at them and combine them, and then do step-by-step instructions that we can post.
Okay.
Okay. So we've got to meet tonight. Let's grind on it, and if we have to, let's ask them in the Skype group during the week for the next. Okay?
Sounds like it'll work.
Okay,
But
any
did
more?
you say, Tom, you said let's meet on Skype tonight or later?
No, well, we have another call Wednesday. That's to ask any questions between now and Wednesday on the Skype group.
Right. I understand now.
Okay?
I misunderstood. Okay.
Okay.
All right, thanks, buddy.
Okay, thank you. I'll shut her down now, and we can meet later.